What do you want to be when you grow up?
Tennis player. I would like to be a tennis player.
Ladies and gentlemen, your US Open winners.
You have to fight very hard for what you want. You want the future to be better for maybe my daughter.
Serena Williams was 8 weeks pregnant when she won the Australian Open.
The Williams sisters have carved out a towering legacy that surpasses the boundaries of tennis.
Allez-y, monsieur.
Bonsoir. Good evening. So, this is a moment of nervosity because normally we are meeting great people from technology, startups, great entrepreneurs, and used to receive and discuss with tech leaders, innovators. But now, today, at this very moment, it is a pleasure and a great honor to introduce a very, very special session that embodies the values of entrepreneurship that VivaTech pushes forward. But it is also a pleasure to present to you the stories of 3 individuals and 2 different worlds that blend together with a single story to move things forward. And I have to confess something. You know, since the inception of VivaTech, I had the pleasure and the honor of welcoming and speaking with people like Jack Ma, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and many others. And I feel good when I'm interviewing them, but I must tell you that I'm very, very nervous and intimidated because I have to introduce 2 immense stars, people who are icons, 2 fantastic women, ladies, that I admire profoundly and that I have seen from my little seat at Roland Garros, winning and making heart beating. So it's this world of sport. And during this Olympic year for the City of Light, it's the first time since 100 years that Paris will be becoming the Olympic Games. And also at Roland Garros time, there cannot be a better time to welcome these 2 iconic stars. They've flown in from United States, and they came specially for you. Yes. Serena and Venus Williams have redefined what it means to be an athlete, what it means to be a champion, what it means to be a star on the tennis court. But they have also shown the world that excellence is not just prize money and trophies, but also breaking barriers and changing the narrative. Off the court, they are entrepreneurs, founders, role models. They have embarked on a new journey in business and technology with, again, a tremendous impact. In the world of entrepreneurship, there is someone else that you will see a bit later on with Benjamin Chambla. He has had several lives already. He's very young, but he is what we call a serial entrepreneur. He has been attending VivaTech in the past, but he was always in the back. Now he will be, thanks to Serena and Venus Williams, in front because of his determination and relentlessness. He's here today with a new project, Shares, in order to democratize investing for everyone, and I'm sure you will give him a very warm welcome later on when he will come to the stage. Now, I want you to give the warmest possible welcome to Venus and Serena Williams with Marjorie Payon. Hey, Mo. Hey. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh my God, Venus, Serena, it's a pleasure to have you both joining us live here in Paris at VivaTech, and especially at a time when we are a sports capital, from the Olympics, of course, to Roland Garros happening literally as we speak. We both know it's a city close to your heart, but what makes it feel so special to you?
I mean, I've always loved Paris. It's been a place where I have so many great memories, and obviously at Roland Garros and at just so many wonderful times there with my sister, you know, singles, doubles. We've just had so much fun. And honestly, my first tournament win actually came in Paris at Stade de France. It was forever ago. And so so many wonderful memories here for me. Yeah, totally. Hi, everybody. How are you? Yeah, actually, our first doubles title was here, too. Our first Grand Slam doubles title. Yeah, so really great memories for forever here. Of course, you can't forget the food and the wine. So it's always a great time to have wine here. I think there's a cocktail after, so yes.
Well, actually, looking forward to it. We know that one of the main themes we want to dive into is definitely togetherness, because you are bringing together what a team actually means to be. But how does it feel to be on stage together today?
Well, it's always super special to share the stage with Venus. So we don't do this too often. So, you know, doing it here in Paris is something that's really cool, and it's great that we have this moment to do it here.
Yeah, it's definitely a very special occasion. We don't get to work together often, actually. So we're here with our team Shares, and so, yeah. We have the whole equipe in front, so it's very special for us to come together for something that's very important.
So definitely, we are the lucky audience today. Now, confidence is key, of course, and you seem to have been raised with this motto in mind. But I'm just wondering, is it that easy to trust oneself every single time?
To
trust oneself every single time?
Transform yourself?
Or trust yourself every single time?
I'm sorry.
No worries at all.
No, actually, you're not going to trust yourself every time. That's a part of life, but the part of life is having the courage. You're going to be afraid sometimes, but life is having that courage to get through those moments. Accepting those moments of fear, accepting those moments when you don't trust yourself, accepting the moments when you may not even understand the process or you get the process wrong. And I think that's right in sports, also in tech, in venture, in life. But having the courage to say, I'm going to try, that's what makes the champions, that's what makes the big businesses, that's what makes a success.
What about you?
I don't know. I feel like in a single sport, you grow up and you learn to trust yourself, and you have to. But then you have to also own the mistakes that you make, and I think it's just as important for me to trust that, and trust that as a leader, you might make mistakes, but for the most part, you're going to make the best decision that you can, whether it's for that time or whether it's for a time in the future. I think that, for me, it's super important to kind of trust the direction that I'm going and just leading that way.
So now, no Venus, no Serena. You mentioned it several times across, along the past decades and your career. Venus has been your inspiration all along. Now I'm wondering, what are ways you've tried to inspire her?
Well, it's so hard to inspire someone that you've been inspired by for so long in so many ways, and she's so inspiring, not only in where we started out as tennis, but for business and just for everything that she does. And she's just always starting new companies and has such great ideas and so successful in what Venus does. So I don't know, I just stay inspired by her work ethic. I think that's something that is incredible, and a lot of people don't really see how hard she works day in, day out. I'll call her, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm at the office. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's really understanding the discipline and the drive that you have to have every single day to continue to be the best in whatever that you want to be. And so that's always inspiring to me still.
Wow. What do you find, Venus, of Serena in yourself? What the Serena part of you?
The part of Serena in me is definitely heart, for sure. I learned heart from Serena, especially not only on the court, but off of the court. I was a very, a talented player on the court, lots of physical ability, lots of natural talent, but right here, I didn't have that. So I could watch Serena, and she was younger than me. And at this time, we were in our teens, and I'm looking at her, and I could see how fearless she was and how much courage she had. And I was like, I want that. So it took me a few years, but I finally learned, and then I got to be just like Serena.
So let's try to find the Serena part in us at some point. So, of course, there's a million parallels to be drawn in between being an athlete and an entrepreneur. Now, in some way, was tennis the best training to join the business world?
I always say that athletes, the right type of athletes make very, very good business people and entrepreneurs. I believe growing up, and when you grow up and it's something that you do every single day, and it's something that you have to do, and you have to have that discipline, and there is no way out. You have to make sacrifices day in and day out. You miss out on so many things. Obviously, for me and for Venus, I can speak for, it's always been worth it, but it's a lot. And so when you take all that energy and take everything that you've done in sport and you put it in business, you go in with this mindset of, I have to succeed. I have to be the best. I know how to do it. And I think that mentality, that training from 5 years old or younger, that's a lot of athletes have, in particular in my sport, tennis has, it takes so much discipline. And that training definitely gets you to a place of not that business is easy, because it is not. I've been in business for a minute, and it is very grueling and very hard, but it's different. You know what I mean? We're not necessarily sweating every day. We get to sit in front of our computers and try to figure out, and it's a mind, it's definitely something very mental, but I feel like the preparation that tennis has can definitely prepare you to be an incredible entrepreneur.
Even when you were born ready, you are icons, you are, again, great athletes. So everyone in here in this room could think that you were born ready to actually accomplish so much in life, weren't you?
If you're born ready?
Yeah.
I think there's one or two people who, out of, let's say, 8 billion on the planet who were born ready. I don't think I was born ready. I think there's a few factors. Sometimes you have it inside of yourself, like Serena had that heart. That was her. A lot of times it's our influences, like your parents. Other times it's our mentors. Other times it's our team members. So it's really about putting yourself in that good position so that way you can be in this environment and building those great teams in your business and in your life.
So finding inspiration in the people around you and building this ecosystem that help you thrive in a way.
Yeah, but also being an inspiration too. And especially if you're a leader, you got to be someone worth leading. You call yourself a leader, then you got to play the part.
Which actually you do embody perfectly. You are both role models to millions, both in tennis and now in business and entrepreneurship. Serena, it's been 10 years since you started Serena Ventures. Your fund was first designed to aim at creating a more inclusive investment landscape. Over the past decade, how has the VC space changed for the underrepresented founders during this time?
Well, I started investing over 12 years ago, and I started Serena Ventures officially. We took outside money and outside capital 2.5, 3 years ago. And the firm started about 4 or 5 years ago. So when I first started investing, I just felt like the world was changing. It wasn't an easy time to invest, but it was an easier time to invest. There were so many things that hadn't been done, whether it was, MasterClass, which I invested in, or whether it was, we all see Uber around. There's so many companies that there wasn't even existing. And so it was changing these ideas and making them modern and bringing technology to different platforms in a different way to live in the future. So when I first started investing, it was a pretty good hit rate. It was great, and it was awesome. And as time goes on, it's still awesome because there's different ways to change the way you function, whether that's more or less B2B or SaaS companies, which is things that we are focusing on more now. And we still love that. But there's so many more entrepreneurs, there's so many more founders, and it's so much more due diligence that we do now in terms to weed through of what people are seeing, what people are presenting, because there's also other people that want to start a company, but they don't really want to start a company. They don't want to really do the work for it. They just want to start a company and raise money. And so it's interesting now, as in when I first started investing, people really wanted to change the landmark. And that's what I like about Share so much. I know we'll talk about that a little bit later. They really are changing the landmark in the way that, people are investing just broadly across the board. But yeah, it was definitely a different time of investing, but now it's just as exciting. It's just in different ways.
Interesting. So, the strategy out there is still actually paying off. You're still paying attention to the founders that matter. Any space for any, part of the audience who would like to pitch an idea to you?
Well,
maybe at some point.
We have a whole VC firm.
We can see literally hands, up in the air.
We have an entire firm, so we always love to hear pitches. We want to invest in diversity. We believe that women and women of color and men of color and not only diversity when it comes to people, but diversity in ideas. We also want ideas that are different, that are helping maybe the 90% of the world and not the elite 2 to 10% of the world. We want to really invest in people and companies and ideas that is really changing, again, like Shares, that's really changing and opening opportunities for everyone to be able to benefit from. So bringing diversity on both sides, not just the founders, but also the companies and the ideas. And that's what we lean into when it comes to Serena Ventures, and we'll continue to lean into that.
And someone who actually made a difference also on and off court is definitely you, Venice. From equal pay to girls' empowerment, you genuinely change the game, like literally. How do you keep on defending those causes today?
Oh, the causes of equity. There's so many areas where equity can improve. Obviously, sport. In tennis, we have continued to make strides. I think we saw women's basketball now lately in the States. It's like doing amazing, women's soccer. But when you go outside of that, there's still a lot of room to grow, whether that is in investing, or Serena was talking about diversity in ideas or people. There's a lot of work. It's always been something I've been passionate about and worked towards. But it's great to be a part of the problem, not just to talk about it, but actually it is so important to talk about it, because if you're not talking about it, that's the first part, right? Talking about it, then you do something about it. So it's that domino effect.
Yeah, so better be part of the solution.
But it's the talking about it that makes people start to do something about it. So it's good to get that on people's minds and just getting that message and just saying, okay, we need to change this. And then sometimes things doesn't happen. But when the more people talk about it, the more action steps happen after
in
that.
the U.S., most women are making about 82 cents of the dollar compared to men. So when you go outside of the U.S., that number drops. And most people don't wake up in the morning and brush their teeth and say, 82% women aren't making as much money. No one's thinking, you're trying to live your best life. So it's important to have those conversations so they come to the front of mind instead of somewhere way in the back or you're never thinking about it.
Absolutely, especially at a time where 2024 is so important for so many reasons on the electoral map also. Now, the saying goes that you learn more from defeat than victory, of course. So, what learnings do you both take when things don't go plan?
I think that first you have to think that maybe it won't go as planned. What is your plan B? I think on the court, Serena and I we tried to build a game that was diverse enough that if you only had one plan, that you could have more than one plan. So a strong game. And I think also in business too, especially after a lot of things that have happened, whether it was a financial crisis or whether it was COVID, most businesses really need to think about, am I diverse enough? Do I have enough income streams? What if something changes quickly and the world changes and I go out of business? What's my backup plan? So it's not enough today to be good at what you're doing. You have to think 1, 2, 3 steps ahead to have that game plan so you don't become obsolete. And also, people say this all the time, but innovation is so important. Once you get comfortable, it's done. You have to continue to innovate and recreate and look forward.
And just thinking every single time to step out of your comfort zone to keep being on agile and creative?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never asked you this, but I think when I won my biggest matches, I had to come out of my comfort zone. It was so easy to stay in the comfort zone and just maybe hope that something great would happen. But instead, you step outside of your comfort zone and you go for it. So it's all about going forward, getting out of your comfort zone. That's where the biggest growth happens.
And you actually did it a couple of years ago, because something that maybe the audience doesn't know about you, Venus, is that you studied interior design and you're now a founder with your own company.
Yeah. I've been in the interior design business for my whole life. So we haven't designed any spaces in France, so maybe that's next.
Well, that's an opportunity to seize somewhere.
Yes, exactly. So we do a lot of work, in the commercial side, so hospitality and commercial work. So I became a co-founder in an AI company for interior design. It's been a very interesting ride because I think Serena has the more business knowledge on that side. So, and I think in the beginning too, I was there and I thought, do I really belong here? And I think that was the first time I've ever felt like that in my life. But then again, it was like getting out of your comfort zone. It was my first time raising money. So very uncomfortable for me to ask for dollars because growing up, I was always taught, don't ever ask anybody for anything. So you're on the phone like, can you give me some money? And they're like, no. Next call. So it was very uncomfortable, but I kind of started to understand that what I learned in sport was very appropriate for what I was going through then, was like learning on the spot, being uncomfortable, being in a position where I needed to win and you're not always sure how to win, needing to pivot. We've continued to pivot the business, all the time as we understand new strategies and we start to see, what's happening. Are we going B2C? Are we doing B2B? What is working for us? So it's been a super interesting journey. I don't know that I'll ever be a co-founder again. It's so much work.
Well, speaks of experience.
So
apparently.
I think we'll let you guys do that, but it's been a lot of fun and something I'm passionate about, design. And AI is here to stay, and it's going to be in everything. So it's wonderful as someone who's passionate about design to be able to put your fingerprint on it and say, be one of the first ones to be a part of that.
Now, I mean, we are heading to the moment we've been waiting for, and that's part of the crowd has been waiting for too, because we are about to reveal a once-in-a-life campaign with both Serena and Venus Williams for shares. But before we do so, and maybe you actually began to answer the question already, but what is winning today? Is it learning every single time? Is it, again, stepping out of your comfort zone? Is it trying to reach out to as many people as possible to probably foster a better ecosystem and world in the end?
I don't know. I think if you just break it down easy, I don't know, winning today could be just getting through a long day, to be honest, because sometimes the days are so long and so grueling, and whether you're seeing so many companies or you're dealing with so much stuff that are happening in your companies, it's just getting through that day with a positive attitude. I'm going to say that's winning.
For me, just if you're lucky enough to get to choose what you want to do and you get to pursue that, that's winning. And more than that is being happy. You can succeed, you can make money, you can live your dreams, but if you are not happy and you don't have happy memories to go with that success, it's not winning. So as much as we'd like to succeed, it's important to be healthy, to be happy, to have family, to have friends, to have connections, and to have happiness. And actually, when you have that, easier to succeed.
Well, you know your business. So now that we do have our winning list and that we have stepped out of our comfort zone, you also did and actually chose to team up with Shares. We're going to dive into this in a few seconds with the man of the hour, of course, the CEO of Shares, Ben Shamla. But first, and only for your eyes, please, let's watch the very first campaign that you girls have filmed for Shares.
It feels good, right? Yo.
Sure, we played each other a few times.
Paper stacks, yeah, I got them in bundles.
You can say that again. But we've been on the same team for life. We do things together, even investing, because investing shouldn't just be something you do on your own. It should be something you do together.
Merci.
And welcome onto the stage.
Hey guys.
And of course, we're welcoming onto the stage the man that actually got you on board and actually got you sold out.
Hello.
And the man that got you sold out on the idea of partnering with his own company, Ben Shamla, of course. Well, you have to tell me, what is the secret recipe to get those great two athletes and entrepreneurs join your team? As brand partners, of course.
You know, I've always admired Venus and Serena. I remember as a kid, when my dad, who's somewhere here, introduced me to tennis, brought me to Roland Garros. They represent everything that can happen to you when you work hard, when you follow your dreams, and you never give up. And the thing that interested me and made you like the dream brand partners is that not only you did it individually, you had a tremendous success individually, but you did it as a team. You did it together, which honestly perfectly aligns with our mission at Shares. And so dreams come true sometimes, and that's what happened.
And actually, you told me a very beautiful story about Serena and Venice. Okay, I'm just going, to open the secret box just for you guys here. You were actually, of course, a tennis supporter and a tennis player when you were younger. The only signature you never had was Venus and Serena, although your dad actually got you to Roland Garros many times.
I had to put this together, for that situation to happen. But yeah, I was one of these, young men running around with, the newspaper of Roland Garros or Wimbledon, like trying to get the signatures. And yeah, so maybe I will succeed somewhere tonight or later.
So the entire reason why you created Shares is because of that one?
Yeah, but let's keep it between us. confidential.
Of course we will. Well, I hope we're not going to keep it between us because, I mean, of course, I know that Venus and Serena, you do choose your collaboration quite carefully. Why accepting Ben's proposition?
Yeah, well, we got some advice from someone we trust very much, Lamia, who's here today. So, of course, yes. When she says something, we listen. You know, she's been our friend for, I don't know, long time, longer than we want to admit, because that means we're getting older. And then, of course, with Ben, he's been a founder, and his team, he's had an amazing track record. And I think Serena can speak to this best about investing in a founder. And also, when you just like someone, when you just like, all right, he's cool. You know, so a lot of that, and I think Serena felt strongly about him as a founder, right?
Yeah, felt strongly about him as a founder, and when we look to invest in people, we always say, one of the things, because this doesn't always happen, especially because we do early stage investing, is have they started something before? Have they had any exits? Or was that like where they, you know, do your due diligence? And so he actually checked so many boxes that we don't often see checked, and so it was quite interesting. So in addition to what Venus said, it was like, okay, well, he's been a founder before, he's done this, he's been successful before, so, you know, let's see what this is about. And also it was, and I'll let you speak to this, I don't want to take too much of your time, but it's also just, too much of your words, I should say. But it's also just the idea of investing and getting more people to invest, which is what I'm all about and why I did start Serena Ventures. So I think that was the idea of shares, and I just was really blown by the idea. And plus, like Venus said, we don't get to work together often, and it was one of the rare opportunities where we could actually work together, and look, we get to come to France together, and so that also kind of was a little nice for us.
Well, there you go. Feeling good?
Pretty good.
Now on to questions. So Ben, I mean, you're back at VivaTech, of course, after quite an hectic year, to be honest, launching shares in various countries, including France. And a year ago, you were telling me, literally on set live on VivaTech News, that you were aiming to become the French leader in stocks and cryptos investments. Are you on track?
Yeah, indeed, it's been a crazy year. We launched France, I think, last November. It's been a blast. I've been quite busy. You can ask my wife, she's somewhere in the front row as well. But more than that, for the whole team, it's been a crazy year. And the first reaction in France were like amazing, insane, unexpected. And I want to thank the French market for that, my home country. 18 months ago, we launched the UK market, which was also quite epic. We've been the second most downloaded application on our first month in the App Store, which also was unexpected. So I believe what is very different here, and explain a bit this early success, is that not only we provide people an easy access to finance, but we provide them with a set of tools and features and functionality, allowing them to make smarter decisions, financial decisions, which was not there on other platforms. So I think that is something that people they needed, and when you create something that just works, it's just unbelievable.
So let me stop here for a second, because you want to make your investors smarter, faster at making their decisions, of course, but also more conscious of their financial future. Should you also make them aware of the risks of investing?
So first of all, I don't like the faster word, because it doesn't need to be fast at all. But I believe here the idea is to fulfill the gap and the hole that there is in the racket, right, when it comes to financial education. So that is really our goal. And as a regulated company, regulated by the French regulator, we are actually one of the only places where actually people can have discussion about investing in a safe environment. Because unlike any other social media, we are regulated. There is a moderation. We have done a very strict curation of premium investor users that are visible per default. And you can learn from them, you can chat, you can ask questions. And this is unique, and you don't find that anywhere else.
But every one of them is vetted before joining the community.
Absolutely, and not only they're vetted, but we have a compliance department with a pretty big team. We have a support, and there is no any post that goes live without going through our compliance team, because they are visible per default. And that's what I'm saying when I say that it's much safer And that's what really initiated our initiative.
Okay, I mean, the market seems to be pretty crowded, actually. I mean, there are a lot of competitors in this space, especially trying to get, like a glimpse and grab a part of this cake of investment community platforms. I mean, that can feel a little overwhelming, to be honest, when you're a user or a potential investor. So why should those investors trust you upon anyone else?
I think, yes, it can sound a little bit saturated as a market, for sure. But I think the appetite for finance is also growing crazy. I think probably since COVID, there is a mass affluence of new investors, maybe a little like younger, more diverse, and they are like deeply seeking for a place like shares so they can learn why they invest. And so that's why at the end of the day, no matter like how many companies there are out there, and that's great, we're all part of, we probably like are all chasing the same goal. I just believe that we have a different angle that is making us a little bit different.
Okay, well, that difference, speaks volume when it comes to smart investment in stocks. That sounds promising. But what about, probably the clickbait type of sound I can actually hear when it comes to cryptos? Because, again, you have to avoid the Black Mirror effect when it comes to Bitcoin or so many different cryptos. Plus, you have to admit there's kind of a lot of scams in this area.
Indeed, and that's why there is a need for safe places. But at the same time, crypto assets are here to stay, right? They are pretty here to stay. Last January, BlackRock launched 11 ETF, exposing like a regular investor to crypto through funds. And I believe now BlackRock stands for about 4% of all Bitcoin in the world. And what I'm saying here is there is a movement, and actually because there is this movement, we do have to provide our user with crypto assets. Now, on the other hand, there is a very strict curation when it comes to selecting our crypto assets. We don't welcome any like shit coins or like small coins. We look at their market valuation, the team behind, and a lot of different criteria to make sure that we're lowering the risk.
Now, Venus and Serena, you're turning your sights to the world, of course, of tech and investing. We touched upon it a little earlier ago, but I want to dive into it. What that inspired you to explore, literally, the space?
Well, I've always been curious. I think curiosity started my exploration of investing, and technology was the only place to invest. If you want to invest in, things that you believe in is going to still be around, then that is really technology. And you look at all the companies that have been built since, 2000. Those companies and the biggest companies are technology based. And obviously there's some amazing CPG companies and there's some amazing consumer good companies, but all of them are really backed by technology. And when you think about all the best companies that are backed by that, I call it the non-sexy fund returners, the things that you don't really see, but they definitely return your fund. That is what I'm interested in. And so that kind of got me really involved in technology and thinking of how technology is really shaping the way we live. You think of, something as simple as how the wheel changed so many lives, but we're living in a time where technology is changing our everyday lives and how we approach it and how we think, and our children and our grandchildren, they literally are going to live in a different world. We live in a different world. Sometimes I think about, my grandmother, this is a completely different world than what she lived in, and that's only going to continue, and that's only going to change. And so when you think about technology, first of all, I love technology. But that's just such a great place to invest.
I've spent so much time in the design world.
Yeah.
In many ways, I am new to technology, so I'm the person on the stage. It's like, which one doesn't quite belong? So I think I've learned so much in this process of working with shares, watching Serena grow her business, and even with her investment philosophy, just kind of understanding that and taking on that philosophy too. And we're all taking part of tech and promoting it in the way that we live. So why not embrace it? I think we all do, right?
Absolutely. Now, you know, Ben, how much I love to dig beyond and beyond buzzwords to actually try to understand the impact of a product or a company or a technology itself on our societal lives, on our economical lives, political lives. And you are definitely on a mission with yours, which is a mission for financial inclusion. Who do you want to empower specifically?
I mean, all the people in the room, probably, to begin with. But probably everybody. I think everybody is entitled to a better financial future. Everybody should have access to the same knowledge, to the same information. So many times I hear like people saying, "Oh, my savings are just like on my bank accounts, no matter how much they have." And I'm like, "What are you doing with them?" And they're like, "Nothing." They are not even aware that they can just put their money in a money market fund and expect like a 3.5%. So what I'm saying, we have discussed about cryptocurrencies, but there is so many things, so many things to look at and to understand, and it's a shame. And so that is what we're under the mission now to achieve and solve.
So, I mean, of course, we are lacking of financial literacy at some point, but my question is probably, who should pave the way for a better financial literacy? Companies, private companies actually, such as yours, the government, institutions, schools maybe at some point?
A couple of, I think, months ago, we shared that we have co-signed how do you say petition?
A petition.
A petition, sorry, about that. Actually, about this theme, we do believe that states should introduce in school, like much earlier, some financial education classes, 100%. Now, as a tech founder, I'm going to say, obviously, that as well, I believe that technology can help a lot, can make things like much more accessible. From your smartphone, you can have access to some things, as long as you can obviously find your way.
I see you girls nodding to this quote from Ben. Of course, education is everything, and of course, when it comes to investing.
Yeah, and that's one of the beautiful things about shares is this opportunity to be in a community where you can learn and where you can create your own community of people so that way you can feel supported and educated. And when it comes to finance, investing, financial literacy, around the world, people are intimidated. You think it's something for someone that's not you, but it has to be for you because it's your future. And let's face it, we don't all want to work forever. So for us, Serena and I, to have this opportunity to bring down the wall and say, hey, step right in, get started now, get started today, get started with any number, making it easy, that's like the most beautiful opportunity for us to be able to do that.
Because if I'm not mistaken, this is also your story. I mean, your parents always told you, this is the first cent you're going to earn, use it, invest in it, invest in yourself too at the same time.
That is our story. Our parents always made sure that we were owners of our money, and we were stewards of our money, and we had to be the best stewards of that. And my dad always said, don't go broke. So with just that knowledge, we had to figure out whether it was, we didn't know it was learning about financial literacy or anything. We just had to figure it out. I do agree it should be taught in schools at some point because it's such a big part of our lives. I think that Venus and I and people like us on platforms like this and talking about shares and talking about how you can up your financial literacy through shares is super important. Yeah. And, I think there's just so, like Venus said, when I first started investing, I was so intimidated. I was like, what am I doing and how do I do this and how do I learn? And it took a while. It takes a long time before you learn. But having that community, having an opportunity to throw things off and to ask questions, I think is invaluable. And so that's one thing that we love about shares and we love about talking about technology.
And also the opportunities as you grow. As you start to understand about investing and the opportunities for diversity too. Yeah. Being able to invest in the US or invest in Europe, that's very powerful. So we love that there's opportunities for growth too. You don't have to just stop once you and go somewhere else. You can always stay there throughout your investment journey.
And listening to you guys, I'm also just, like what pops in mind is that it's also fascinating because through investment you can shape the world you want to live in, like literally, while investing and betting on the future of certain and various companies and sectors.
Yeah, the world is shaped now by technology, whether people realize it or not. It's totally shaped by technology. And it's what people are investing in. Mm-hmm. And they invest in different technologies that are shaping how we use our phone, that are shaping how we use technology, how we use a tennis racket. I mean, it's shaped in so many different ways, from garments to design to investing. Mm-hmm. So it's really a part of your everyday life, whether you realize it or not.
And also just investing, if you want to be someone who's investing towards sustainability, if you have a cause and you're a conscious investor, those are amazing opportunities that cannot be ignored. Mm-hmm. So making it easy for you to be able to, give that future to the planet or to the world that you'd like and invest in that is very powerful, and it's great to be able to do that.
Is investing making a statement at some point? Like, I want to be true to my values, I want to invest in this company, this sector. Is this also the role and the part of the community you've vetted on shares?
Yeah, I like to say that there's also another component besides like just growing your wealth, which is voting with your money, right? Uh-huh. And so somehow that's the other part. Now people on such platforms can realize that they get to understand what are these companies about, right? What am I investing in? Oh, I like this company, I support their strategy, and I want to put my money in that direction. So I think this is also a new element that happened a lot, obviously, during COVID with all the meme stock sequence that happened a lot on Reddit, actually. And so, yeah, so that was, it's an interesting point. But our core mission is really like helping people to learn and fill up the lack of financial education.
Speaking of learning and of course of education too, at the same time, do you sometimes think that you are going to foster a new generation of investors, and what would this new generation look like?
New generation? I think that's a great question for Serena.
Yeah, I think that
you're totally dodging the question.
I think that using my platform definitely inspires a lot of people, and I've gotten a lot of stuff like, I want to learn how to invest, and how do I do that? And I think a lot of people that are younger are either becoming founders or starting their own businesses, or they're entrepreneurs. And they want to be able to learn how to build their own business. And in order to do that, they have to get investors. So, it works both ways. So now they're learning about investors, and then they learn about investing. A lot of founders are some of the best investors. And so seeing this whole new group of people that are becoming founders and are becoming entrepreneurs, they're naturally learning about investing. But it all starts, I think this is a whole new cycle that we've literally never lived in a world like this. So if we take a moment and just think about it, we are creating a new life that people are just learning more about investing and getting more involved in it.
Last words with the man of the hour. Are you actually creating that new generation of investors, and what does the future of investing look like?
I guess it's already happening, Millions of new retail investors over the last couple of years have created their account for, not necessarily on shares, like on general. So it's already happening. So the idea is more like to provide them with the tools, I would say. But it's a phenomenon that is already happening.
Game, set, and shares. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Serena Williams, Ben Summer. Please, huge round of applause for these icons.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm happy. If you're happy, I'm happy.
What did you say?